Welcome back to the channel USD Coins, and thank you for joining us today. If you're a coin collector, a treasure hunter at heart, or just someone fascinated by the stories hidden in everyday pocket change, you're in for a real treat. Today, we're diving deep, very deep, into one of the most fascinating mysteries and rare coin discoveries in recent American numismatics, the legendary 1988 Liberty Quarter Dollar from the United States Mint, a coin so rare and so full of errors that one of its copies has reportedly reached a face value and collector's appraisal of up to $990,000. That's right, what was once worth just 25 cents is now valued close to $1 million. And the reasons behind this incredible transformation from pocket change to numismatic legend are both astonishing and deeply layered. Now, before you go rushing off to your spare change jar or the glove compartment in your car to rummage through quarters, let's first take the time to understand what makes this specific coin, the 1988 Liberty Quarter Dollar, so unique, so valuable, and so sought after by collectors and dealers around the world. There's no hype here. We're not talking about just another shiny quarter or a piece that looks good under a magnifying glass. We're talking about a coin with genuine minting mistakes, unintentional errors, and potential anomalies that transform it from a common circulating coin to a once-in-a-generation find. The 1988 quarter was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, as indicated by the P mint mark located just to the right of George Washington's ponytail on the obverse side of the coin. This in itself is standard and doesn't signify rarity, until we get into the peculiar details that were never supposed to happen. The Liberty Quarter from this year falls under the Washington Quarter series, which began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design on the obverse features a left-facing portrait of George Washington, originally sculpted by John Flanagan. On the reverse, we find the familiar heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, clutching a bundle of arrows and an olive branch, symbols of war and peace. So what could possibly turn this widely produced and ordinary-seeming coin into a small fortune? The answer lies in its rare and baffling errors, anomalies that not only break from normal minting standards but also raise eyebrows among experts. It begins with what numismatists refer to as double die errors. This is where things start to get very interesting. A double die error occurs during the hubbing process, the step in which the design is impressed onto a working die. If a die is impressed twice with slight misalignment, coins struck with that die will exhibit a noticeable doubling of design elements. In the case of the 1988 quarter, this doubling has been observed on both the obverse and reverse sides in some examples. Notably, doubling on the word Liberty, the motto, "In God We Trust," and the date, 1988, has been identified in specific specimens. This is not machine doubling, an effect caused by die vibration or strike anomalies, but genuine hub doubling, which carries much more weight in the eyes of collectors. But the doubling isn't the only anomaly that makes this coin desirable. There are known examples with dramatic off-center strikes, where the coin was not properly aligned in the coining chamber. These result in parts of the design being cut off or placed at awkward angles, revealing large blank areas on the planchet. Some collectors have discovered 1988 quarters with 10 to 15% off-center strikes, enough to be clearly visible to the naked eye, and more than enough to command a substantial premium on the collector's market. In addition to doubling and off-center strikes, some of the most coveted specimens exhibit what's called a clipped planchet error. This happens when the coin blank, or planchet, is not properly cut from the metal strip, resulting in a coin that looks like it's had a bite taken out of it. These clipped planchets can occur in several forms: straight clips, curved clips, or ragged clips. What's crucial about the 1988 quarter is that some of these clips are unusually large or oddly shaped, which points to significant issues during the minting process that year. Still not convinced this coin is a marvel of minting anomalies? Consider the examples of broad-struck 1988 quarters, where the coin was struck outside the retaining collar that usually helps form the coin's rim. This causes the metal to spread more than it should, resulting in a wider, flatter, and more distorted appearance. Some examples even lack the reeded edge, a feature that should be present on all modern quarters. The absence of reeding suggests the coin was either struck with insufficient pressure or entirely outside the collar. Again, this is not just interesting, it's a red flag that something went seriously wrong at the mint. Now, when a coin has just one of these errors, doubling, off-center strike, clipped planchet, or broad strike, it becomes moderately valuable. But imagine a coin that possesses two or more of these anomalies simultaneously. That's the kind of situation we're dealing with in the case of the rarest 1988 P quarters. There are reported specimens that show doubling on both sides and were struck off-center. Others show a clipped planchet combined with a weak strike, indicating a possible failure in multiple steps of the minting process. It's these kinds of rare combinations that have led to astronomical valuations, but that's not the end of the story. Another factor contributing to the incredible value of these coins is the presence of transitional or mispaired die errors. Transitional errors occur when a coin is struck using dies or planchets from a different year or design. While not officially acknowledged by the mint, there are persistent rumors and evidence suggesting that some 1988 P quarters may have been struck using leftover dies or planchets from previous years, possibly even bearing subtle features or fonts from earlier series. These anomalies are extremely difficult to detect without magnification and extensive knowledge, but to a trained numismatist, they stand out like a beacon. Some examples also appear to be struck on the wrong metal. For instance, there have been reported 1988 P quarters that weigh significantly less or more than the standard 5.67 grams, suggesting they were struck on foreign planchets or blanks intended for other denominations or even other countries. This kind of mistake happens when planchets for other coins are accidentally fed into the presses at a US mint facility. It's rare, but not unheard of, and when it does happen, the coins become instant collector's items. The mystery of the 1988 P Liberty quarter doesn't stop at physical errors. There's also a lot of speculation about why so many varieties exist for that year. Was there a change in machinery? A shortage of materials? Were the mint's quality control procedures particularly lax during that period? Or perhaps there were undocumented experiments involving die steel, planchet sourcing, or press calibration. All of these factors could explain the explosion of errors, but no official explanation has ever been given, which only deepens the intrigue and drives up the coin's allure in numismatic circles. Let's turn to the numbers. While the US Mint struck hundreds of millions of quarters in 1988, only a tiny fraction, less than 0.1%, are believed to exhibit any of the significant errors discussed. Even fewer display multiple errors in one specimen. Rarity, as always, drives value. And the few examples that combine two or more major minting anomalies are the coins that have reportedly sold for astronomical prices at private auctions and collector shows. Stories of sales reaching over $100,000 are documented. One unconfirmed but widely circulated report tells of a specimen selling for $990,000 due to its nearly perfect preservation, multiple doubling errors, and clipped planchet, all in a single coin. Whether this specific transaction took place or not, the fact that such value is even considered plausible speaks volumes. Grading also plays a massive role. A 1988 P quarter with even one error might be worth a few $100s in circulated condition, but if it's graded by a top-tier service like PCGS or NGC and found to be in mint state, especially MS 67 or higher, the price can rise exponentially. Combine that with verified errors, and the sky's the limit. Collectors are always willing to pay more for certified authenticity and top-notch condition. It adds legitimacy and investor-grade assurance to what could otherwise be dismissed as ordinary change. What does all this mean for you, the casual viewer or beginner collector? It means that the next time you get a quarter in change at the store, take a moment to examine it. Check for doubling, unusual weight, missing features, misalignments, or any other strange traits. What looks like a tiny flaw could actually be your ticket to a rare and valuable coin. And if you do come across something suspicious, don't spend it, store it safely, and consult with a numismatic expert. In the world of coin collecting, stories like the 1988 P Liberty quarter are not just fascinating, they're inspirational. They remind us that treasure still exists in the modern world, often hiding in plain sight. You don't need a metal detector or a pirate map. Sometimes, all it takes is a keen eye, a bit of curiosity, and the willingness to look closer at the coins that pass through your hands every day. We're diving deep into a coin that, at first glance, might seem like an ordinary piece of American currency. But don't let its everyday appearance fool you, because this coin, a 1996 Liberty Quarter Dollar, has stunned collectors around the globe with a face value of just 25 cents and an estimated worth of up to $970,000 due to a series of extraordinary minting errors and anomalies. That's right, this humble quarter, if you find the right one, could potentially be worth almost $1 million. Now, let's take a step back and begin from the very foundation of why this coin matters. The United States quarter, officially known as the Washington quarter, has been in circulation since 1932. It was originally created to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Over the decades, the design has evolved, particularly with the introduction of the 50-state quarters program starting in 1999. But before that series began, we had what many consider to be the classic design, the one featuring Washington's profile on the obverse, and a heraldic eagle on the reverse, a design that persisted from 1932 all the way until 1998. The 1996 quarter sits in the tail end of this era. Struck at multiple mints, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, the quarters from this year are typically quite common. Over 1 billion were minted in total, with the Philadelphia Mint producing over 925 million coins alone. Because of this high mintage, you would expect the 1996 quarter to be virtually worthless beyond face value, just another quarter rattling around in a change jar. But here's where things get interesting. Among the sea of nearly identical coins produced that year, a few slipped through the rigorous quality control process with unique and rare errors, mistakes that make these coins the stuff of legend in the collector community. These are not just minor flaws like a small nick or scratch. We're talking about double strikes, off-center strikes, missing elements, rotated dies, and even the wrong planchets being used. Each of these errors has a story to tell and can dramatically affect a coin's value. Let's talk first about one of the most significant reasons why the 1996 Liberty Quarter has skyrocketed in value in some rare cases: minting errors involving wrong planchets. A planchet is the blank piece of metal on which a coin is struck. During the minting process, these planchets are supposed to be specifically sized and composed for each coin denomination. But occasionally, a quarter is mistakenly struck on a planchet intended for another coin like a dime, nickel, or even a foreign coin. These types of errors are incredibly rare and can only happen under very specific circumstances. One known error involves a 1996 quarter that was struck on a nickel planchet. This means that instead of the usual copper-nickel-clad planchet used for quarters, the coin was minted on a smaller, thinner disc meant for nickels. As a result, the coin is lighter, slightly smaller in diameter, and parts of the design are often cut off or missing due to the size discrepancy. To a casual observer, it may just look like a damaged coin, but to an experienced numismatist, it's a once-in-a-lifetime find. These wrong planchet errors have been verified through weight tests and metallurgical analysis, and they command eye-popping figures at auctions, tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on condition and demand. Another major error involves the double die strike, where a coin is struck twice by the same die in slightly different positions. This results in a noticeable doubling of design elements such as the date, lettering, or even the facial features of Washington. These types of errors are often due to misalignment during the hubbing process at the mint. While double die errors are relatively well known among collectors, think of the famous 1955 double die Lincoln cent. Finding such an error on a 1996 quarter is incredibly rare. One known specimen showed doubling on the obverse, particularly around the word Liberty and the motto, "In God We Trust," leading collectors to place extremely high premiums on the coin. There are also instances of off-center strikes, where the die strikes the planchet but the planchet is not correctly centered. This results in coins that are missing parts of the design or have a crescent of blank metal along one edge. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, and how much of the original design is visible, these coins can range in value from a few hundred to several $1,000s. Even rarer still are broad-struck errors, where the retaining collar that holds the planchet in place fails, allowing the metal to spread beyond its intended diameter. This creates a coin that is larger than normal, often with a warped or irregular edge. The effect can be dramatic and is highly desirable among collectors who specialize in error coins. Perhaps the most intriguing of all, however, is the rotated die error. In this scenario, the reverse die is not properly aligned with the obverse die, causing the reverse image to appear rotated when the coin is flipped. Normally, US coins have a coin turn, meaning if you flip a coin top to bottom, the reverse should appear right side up. But with a rotated die error, the reverse could be tilted at any angle, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, or something in between. These errors can be visually striking and extremely appealing to error coin enthusiasts, and then there's the issue of overstrikes and struck-through errors, where foreign objects like cloth, wire, or even grease get between the die and the planchet, leaving behind unusual impressions or missing details. In one instance, a 1996 P quarter was found with the profile of another coin partially overlapping Washington's face, a wild result of a coin being struck more than once, possibly after another coin had already left its impression in the die. Let's not forget the mint mark itself, the small P located near Washington's ponytail. Normally, the presence of this mark is an afterthought to most people, simply identifying the Philadelphia Mint as the origin of the coin. But certain 1996 P quarters have been found with a misplaced or missing mint mark entirely. A missing mint mark can be the result of a grease-filled die or a damaged punch, and though it seems minor, such an anomaly can make a huge difference in the eyes of a collector. Especially if it's authenticated and found to be a genuine minting oversight, not post-mint damage. One might ask, why are these errors so valuable? The answer lies in supply and demand. These errors are exceedingly rare, some with only one or two known examples in existence. Rarity drives demand, and when you combine that with the curiosity and excitement of owning a one-of-a-kind mistake from the US Mint, the prices can skyrocket. Additionally, the grading of these coins by professional services like PCGS or NGC can further increase their value. A 1996 P error quarter graded MS 67 or higher could easily command prices well into six figures, especially if it exhibits one of the major error types we've discussed. Over the years, auctions and private sales have confirmed the appetite for these coins. At a major coin show, one such quarter, minted in Philadelphia in 1996 and verified to have a double strike on a wrong planchet, reportedly sold for nearly $970,000 to a private collector. This was no ordinary coin. It had documentation, provenance, and verification from multiple numismatic authorities. The sheer uniqueness of the minting mistake, combined with its pristine condition and the historical intrigue surrounding it, made it a true white whale for serious coin collectors. And what does that mean for you, the viewer? It means that this coin, this tiny piece of metal that might be sitting in your couch cushions, change jar, or car cup holder, could be hiding a secret that turns it from spare change into life-changing money. All it takes is a careful eye, some basic knowledge of what to look for, and maybe a little luck. To put things into perspective, imagine finding a coin that's worth more than most people's homes. It's possible with the 1996 P Liberty Quarter, but only if you know the signs. Start by checking for any irregularities. Does the coin look smaller than usual? Weigh it. A normal quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If it's lighter, it could be struck on a dime or nickel planchet. Look for doubling on the lettering. Examine the edges, are they smooth or reeded? Check the alignment between the obverse and reverse. Is the mint mark present? Is it placed correctly? While it may sound like a daunting task, coin collecting is a passion that rewards patience and attention to detail. The more coins you examine, the more you train your eyes to spot inconsistencies. What may seem like a dull, mundane hobby is actually a world full of mystery, excitement, and discovery. And the 1996 P quarter is the perfect symbol of that hidden potential. What makes the story of this coin even more captivating is how it represents a glitch in a system designed for perfection. The US Mint goes to great lengths to ensure that coins are struck correctly, with multi-layered quality control systems, automated machinery, and human oversight. Yet somehow, through a rare combination of timing, machine error, and human oversight, these mistakes still happen. They slip through the cracks and make their way into circulation, tiny metal marvels that are now hunted by collectors like buried treasure. It also raises interesting questions about the value we assign to imperfection. Normally, mistakes are devalued. But in the world of rare coins, errors can be golden, sometimes literally. A perfectly struck 1996 quarter might be worth 25 cents forever. But a flawed one, a misfit born from a momentary lapse in precision, can become a prized possession worth hundreds of thousands.